Hi, I'm Sandra Ingerman, and welcome to the Shaman's Cave.
And I'm Renee Baribeau, and we are really excited you're here today.
Yeah, there's so much going on right now, and people are doing so much spiritual work, and there's workshops on healing with sound and bowls and shamanic journeying and the wind, and there's such a wealth of information that's being shared right now and experiences that we can all drop into that are really wonderful spiritual experiences. But we are actually beings who live on the earth. We are human, we're nature beings. And so the earth is our home. And so one of the things that I notice is with all the guided meditations, and Renee and I do them too in our workshops, but there's so many guided meditations going on about leaving your body, going to different realms and experiencing celestial music and experiencing past lives. And I wonder, because there's so much going on simultaneously, if we're starting to lose our connection to our body. And grounding is the most important thing that we need to do for our health and on all levels. So,
It kind of reminds me of the conversation we were having before, where I was talking about, they're selling property in the metaverse. And, whether I was talking to an addiction professional this week, and I said, my concern is whether or not we could truly have a grounded, embodied experience in the metaverse that we can have walking barefoot out in your backyard. And, and so I sometimes wonder if I'm an old horse, like trying to ride into the wrong sunset. And like, if there's it, am I missing the boat on this? Or is having this embodied experience, which, I've been teaching for what, 30 years about you got to be in your body, you got to be in your body, because so many of us had such traumatic childhoods and other experiences that it wasn't a good place. It wasn't a safe place to live. I mean, I remember the first time that I really checked out when I think my parents were having a fist fight in the living room or something. And it's like, I don't want to be here. And I left. So it took me a long time to get back into, yeah, this is a good, safe place to live. And then, so when I met people along in my 30s and my 40s who were having these, oh, I'm going to Metatron, or I'm going here and I'm getting all this information from this and that, I'd be like, but are you in your body? Like, and I don't know if I'm overly be in your body because I was a chef and all that, but it's kind of this curious thing to me, is like people who live more out in the ethers than us people. And I tend to think that shamans are more grounded.
mhm.
Are we?
Yeah, well, in shamanism, I share this a lot. Back in the 1980s, a friend of mine who is Hopi came to one of my workshops, and we both lived in Santa Fe, so I drove him down to the workshop. And after the weekend was over, I said to him, Spencer, what did you think about the workshop? And it was a workshop on shamanic journeying, teaching people how to journey. And he said to me, oh, I really loved the workshop. But he said, the Hopi people have a very different way of journeying than you do. The Hopi people take their bodies with them. And so this was back in the 1980s, and we're now in the year 2022. I just turned 69. I started teaching when I was only about 29. So I've had all these years, to think about, because I hear that all the time. The difference between the way we journey is we take our bodies with us. And so in all my workshops and journeying, I've been teaching people more how to actually experience their bodies with them in non-ordinary reality, because maybe it's a little like renting space in the metaverse. I don't know, but shamans would actually build vacation homes in the lower world in Siberia. They would build homes to where they were going to go after they died.
Mm,
And it was real to them. They
mhm,
felt the wood, they felt their hands putting the materials together, they felt their bare feet on the ground. So, shamanism has never been an out of body experience, especially because it's so um, nature oriented. You know, we made it like that. And when shamanism was brought to the West, and there's no criticism on this, a very easy way to have people journey was to have them lie down and put something over their eyes. And so it easily became just wonderful out of body experiences for all the people who came to my workshops were like what you described, Renee, of their childhoods were so traumatic that being here wasn't safe. And here was a room of people, you know, 50 to 75 people, all lying down together and going out and traveling into wonderful realms, having wonderful experiences with amazing, loving spirits. But spirits come here to be incarnated because of the amazing feeling of senses. And in South America, um, when people walk through the jungles, they walk through the jungles with all their cells sensing, not just their eyes and their ears and their nose and their mouth, all their cells are sensing. And so, what I find for myself, because I'm a real channel and I have amazing spiritual experiences, is that when I really connect with my body and really connect with nature, those experiences are actually more ecstatic because I have the body senses that go with the spiritual. I have the bliss.
mm,
I have the feeling of that love that got transferred between me and a spirit or me and a plant. I got it in my body. It wasn't just an etheric kind of experience.
mhm. It reminds me of two things. One time I was in Mexico, and I think we just finished an ayahuasca ceremony, and we were moving. And, like I'm thinking of this really ecstatic experience. I get going into my disco moves, and Maria Teresa comes over. Renee, the heartbeat of the mother. It's like 1, 2, 1, 2. And it was like, like for this idea of ecstasy to me was like, Saturday Night Fever. And another time when we were at Machu Picchu back in the day when you could go in after dark, we were
Mhm.
doing these experiences on the Death Stone where we were actually given a spirit flight from this place and go out and come back. Well, when I came back, I crash landed into my body, and I spent the whole night throwing up
Mm.
because because you think your body's nice and clear, but there's nothing like going out and then coming back in. And it was a crash landing. And the next morning, it was Alberto who comes in and says, "Oh, your chakras are running clear. They look like they haven't run so clear in 20 years, or your whole life probably." But that sometimes, like, and I think we're going to do that later today. It's like we're going to do a journey to see how embodied we are in our body, but sometimes you don't even know where those disconnects are until you do some spiritual work and then bring it back in, and it just didn't slide right back in nice.
Yeah, I people always are amazed that I don't take breaks in my workshops for meals. And one of the reasons for it, well, for one thing, I'm a community person, and I'm not one of those teachers who want to sit in a room by myself, eating by myself when I have a group of people I can be laughing with and talking to. And so part of my reason for not taking breaks during meals is because I want to communicate with my students. But another thing is I want to track what's happening with the group.
Mhm,
So, very typical when I teach a physical, in person, not online workshop on shamanic journeying. During the lunch break, I might find somebody crying, and I'll ask them why they're crying, and they'll go, I actually don't know. I was going to come up and talk to you about it. There's nothing wrong. I don't know why I'm crying. Or somebody will come up to me at a break and say, I don't know why, I just feel like yelling at everybody in the group. I just want to yell. And I'm just really irritable. And those are classic signs of people who did a crash landing in a journey. And I talk
mhm,
about crash landing and journeys constantly. Shamans walked very intentionally into the unseen realms, and they walked very intentionally back into the seen realms again with their whole body intact. And so, what people do with shamanic journeying is they go out, they're having this wonderful experience, and then they hear the return beat of the drum and they just crash land back. They forget. I talk to people, think about going into a park that doesn't have a loop. You're on a trail, you have to walk one way, and how are you going to get back to your car? You have to
mm,
turn around and you have to walk back. And so, what I found is that people don't spend attention coming back from their spiritual work. I mean, in my experience, it's shamanic journeys, but you see it with meditation, you see it with all kinds of spiritual work. People don't pay attention to, like what Maria Teresa was saying, the heartbeat of the earth, 1, 2, 1, 2, we just want to have these grand experiences. But the grandest experience of all is having our feet on the earth and being connected to the earth, um,
mhm.
and our bodies at the same time, because our bodies are a reflection of the creator and the earth, of heaven and earth. And we bridge these amazing energies through our body, but we have to be in our body to bring through these amazing energies. So,
Yeah, that's so true. I remember once being at a Starhawk workshop, and I brought my boss from the retirement community, and she was, a nice Catholic girl. And so when Starhawk brought up the fires from the earth, I'm looking, and my friends like jumping. Like she got the fire in her feet. But what happened in that particular workshop is, that again, there was no one holding the space, there was no one tethering the group. And so, she brought us out to our star. And we're talking like 30 some years ago. And I didn't want to come home from my star.
right, yeah,
It was like the most wonderful place I'd ever been. And I just like what you're talking about, that sobbing. But that same friend whose feet were on fire didn't come back from the star. And it took me days to get her home, and so that's that's why, and especially if you're a teacher or, doing your own groups out there, to really know if your group's embodied and having an embodied experience, it's so important, like what you were saying about the dinner time and, really checking in with people. It's a huge responsibility, like the I Am Symposium, to have all of those people and being in all different spaces to make sure that they're having that embodied experience. And I learned a lot this year from that.
Hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't feel good. That's why people cry. That's why people get irritable. It doesn't feel good not to be in your body. And so there's so many of us. I mean, how many people, when you look at social media or the news or watch Zoom, how many people actually look like they're in their bodies? Like there's something in their eyes that they haven't completely left.
Hmm.
And it's really probably one of the biggest things affecting us physically, emotionally,
Hmm.
mentally is not feeling connected to our body and not feeling connected to the earth. So, the really simple exercises that have been taught, ever since the 60s of imagining yourself as a tree and that your roots are going all the way down into the earth. These exercises have been going on forever. And I remember when I lived in San Francisco being invited to different Native American ceremonies where if a person was having a hard time coming back, some salt was put under their tongue because salt is
Hmm.
very grounding. And so I learned that that's actually a well-known tradition around the world to put salt in your mouth if you can't come back into your body.
That's a great one.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, you were going to take us on a journey. This would probably be a good time to do that, to see if we're in our bodies and how we are doing.
yeah.
Before we go on that, though, if you please hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube right now, as you prepare yourself, that would be a nice embodied experience. Subscribe. I'm going to share the screen, um, and we have a really nice picture for our journey today.
Okay, so basically, if you have a drummer rattle and you would like to use it, um, please feel free to drum and rattle with me. Otherwise, just close your eyes. And what you want to do as you're listening to the drumming is you want to drop into your body and scan your body and actually try to imagine your reflection in a mirror, in a spiritual mirror. And are you fully in your body, or are you standing next to your body, or are you way above your body? Where is your spiritual self? Where is your soul? Um, the process of healing, with Renee talking about us being out of our body, is the process I teach of soul retrieval, which is the most common healing method that's used in shamanic cultures all around the world. And so basically, you want to scan your body and see where your soul is. Your soul is going to look exactly like you as you are now. And are you complete and are you in your body? And if not, during the drumming, try inviting yourself back in and feel yourself connecting to the heartbeat of the earth. So here we go. So if you haven't done it, invite yourself back fully into your body so that you can feel the loving heartbeat of the earth and the love of the winds surrounding you and the love of the waters of the world and the love of the sun warming your body and feeding you with sunlight, which is what we live on. The more you can come in, just invite yourself in, the more beauty and magic you will feel. But now it's time to come back. So just open your eyes and come back from this experience. And if you still feel like there's parts of yourself out there, that's fine. Just recognize that and understand that you have some more work to do. Okay, everybody, welcome back from this journey. With that journey, if you felt that you saw yourself out there, but you didn't know how to bring yourself back, you can keep working on that, calling yourself back. If you need some help, I have a wealth of shamanic practitioners listed on shamanicteachers.com who can do a soul retrieval on your behalf. But you can also just really spend attention connecting to the earth and breathing with the earth and connecting your heartbeat with the heartbeat of the earth. And Renee might give you a suggestion of using a wind whistle to call yourself back.
There, not only the wind whistle, but the wind walk, to go to the door and to really breathe in and breathe out and ask the wind a question and then take a walk and feel and during the whole walk, pay attention to where's the wind coming from? Is it, where am I feeling the wind on my body? And really pay attention to which part of your body that the wind is hitting at any given moment. And maybe sometimes I'll turn around and, like, if I'm at the beach, I'll turn around and face the wind and really feel the wind that way, and then see what it feels like on me another way. And just bringing that awareness of the wind onto my body really brings me back home again. So, yeah, it's another way of embodying.
Yeah, that's a wonderful suggestion. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, also, I just want to say this week, I'm getting ready. This week, Saturday, launches my 10-month Windwalkers adventure. So if you're feeling the call to be part of a shamanic community that wants to go deeper with each other and with themselves through accountability, you have a couple of more days to apply before we start. So go over to thepracticalshaman.com and check it out if it feels like you're called. And this is only it's not for the window shoppers. It's for people who are really ready to really engage with themselves this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great experience for people. I think Renee does not ride any superficial waves.
Oh, that's to my detriment and to my advantage, trust me. But that's what we like about each other, is that the reason we can sit here together is because we've both done a whole lot of work on ourselves and we've done the deal. We're not sitting here because we've taken a couple of 7-week courses. We walked through the fire, we walked through the spaces and the ethers, and we've come back home to ourselves. So I know Sandra does, and I know that I do. And we're here to support you through these really tumultuous times of change. You know, we're just we're we're at the precipice of it. We're just really going in. So really make sure you know where your community is and where that fire is, and that you stay embodied through it.
Yeah, that's really important because if your soul is in your body, it can lead you through any single challenge that's coming up. And so, actually, being in your body right now is the safest place to be. And I'll end on that note.
All right, so make sure you comment, tell us what you like. You know, this is season 4, so we're open to some more comments and suggestions about topics you'd like to hear. You know, we could repeat some of the things we talked about in season 1, and everything's always evolving, so it's never the same message. But follow us at YouTube at the Shaman's Cave. You can listen on all the places you get to podcast, and then keep commenting on the YouTube. I respond, and also on the Shaman's Cave page. We just invite you to really share about your experiences. Memes are great, you know, articles. I love articles, you know, when you can talk about them. And we just invite you to really find home in the community that we're offering to you.
Yeah, that's a real gift. So push that subscribe button and get other people to push that subscribe button too.
And we'll see you next week.